Alright, this is the fourth and final part of our review of congruence. In this video, we're going to continue working with two-column proofs, filling in those statements and reasons, and then we're going to finish up with constructions and talk about how to copy a segment, make a segment that's twice as long, and how to copy an angle, make an angle that's twice as big. Alright, but first, number 19. So, given that H is the midpoint of MK and QD, prove the triangles are congruent. So, they're giving us midpoint, alright, but that implies that MH is going to be congruent to HK, alright, because of the definition of midpoint, and OH is going to be congruent to HD, also by the definition of midpoint. In addition to that, we know that these are vertical angles. So these two triangles will be congruent to each other by the side angle side postulate. So keep that in the back of your mind. That's all coming. So here, as far as a reason, it says given. So you know that here we have to state the given. Alright, so there's our first statement. H is the midpoint of MK and QD. Alright, we're just rewriting the given. Now, like I mentioned earlier, since that's the midpoint, that implies that MH is congruent to KH, and I thought it was an O, but yeah, QH is congruent to DH. That is the definition of midpoint. Alright, so that takes care of all those hash marks there. Now, angle MHQ is congruent to angle KHD. And we said that these two angles are congruent because they're vertical angles. So you can either write the vertical angle theorem, or you can write vertical angles are congruent. Now, the last statement has to be the thing that you were trying to prove. So let's just copy this down here. Okay, now of course the reason will be the side angle side postulate, as we discussed a moment ago. Okay, so that's it for number 19. Alright, let's take a look at the proof in problem number 20. Alright, given angle NLM, okay, let's see, NLM. That's this angle right here. Alright, that's congruent to angle LNO. Okay, LNO is right here. So those two angles are given congruent. And angle OLN, alright, OLN. Alright, so that's right here. Is congruent to angle MNL. MNL is right here. Okay? We're supposed to prove that angle M is congruent to angle O. So we're going to start by proving that triangles are congruent overall. In addition to the given, we also know that the shared side, LN, is going to be congruent for both triangles. So we're going to wind up saying that LN is congruent to LN by the reflexive property. So looking at all three pieces of information, we know that the triangles will be congruent by angle, side, angle. So keep that in the back of your mind. That's coming up later. Angle, side, angle postulate. So, of course, in step 1 here, they're just stating the first part of the given. So angle LM is congruent to LNO. That's part of the given, so we say given. Okay, that's one of the angles in angle side angle. So we've checked off one of the angles. Okay, then the second reason is another given, so it must be the rest of this. So it must be angle OLN is congruent to angle MNL. Okay, because that's the other given. Alright, so that's another angle, so that checks off the other angle in angle side angle. Okay, so that leaves the side, okay, of angle side angle. And looking at the reason, I can see where they're going. We spoke of it before. LN is congruent to LN. By the reflexive property of congruence. Alright, so that takes care of the side in angle side angle. Once you've checked off all three pairs of information that you needed, you're ready to say that the triangles are congruent. Now let's be careful when we make the congruent statement. Notice that the L corresponds to angle N in the other triangle. So this starts with L, but this one will start with N. Alright, M corresponds with O, alright, which is the thing we're trying to prove. And then N, okay, in this triangle, LMN, the N corresponds with angle L in the other triangle. So it has to be that order. Of course, the triangles are congruent by the angle side angle postulate. Okay. Now the last statement has to be the thing that we're trying to prove. So this has to be angle M is congruent to angle O. Alright, we have no choice. Now the reason, once we've proven that the triangles are congruent, which we did in step 4, then we can pick any pair of corresponding parts we want, and we can say they're congruent because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, CPCTC. Alright, so that's the end of number 20. Okay, for number 21, we're supposed to copy the segment. Now we have to do this using only a compass and a straight edge, nothing else. If you use a ruler for a straight edge, you are not allowed to use the markings on the side of the ruler to measure it and try to make it the same length. When we grade these, we're going to be looking for markings to show that you followed the procedure that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to try to do this using a virtual tool. I've made other videos where I showed by hand with pencil and paper and a compass and a straight edge how to copy a segment. So if you want to see it, see me do it by hand with pencil and paper, just go back and watch one of the videos from the last 2 days. Okay, so this is day 15, so you can go back and look at day 14 or day 13. But I think you'll be able to follow it from this virtual demonstration. So copying a segment. Alright, so let me just draw a segment real quick. So say if here's a segment and I want to copy it. So the first thing you do is you draw another segment that's longer than the one that you're trying to copy. It doesn't have to be perfectly parallel or anything like that. So I think I'm going to make mine purposefully a little bit crooked just to show it doesn't have to be the same. Okay. Now we're going to use our compass to basically measure the length of this. So here's my compass tool. Alright, so if this is my compass, I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to stretch it out to be the exact length of this. Okay, so now that I have the length set, I can move it over to my new segment and draw an arc. Okay, so this little arc shows me how long the segment needs to be. So now I can use my straight edge and come back and darken this in. So I know, wait, I want that to be red. Okay, so I know now that it's going to be from here to here. And so that's it. I've now copied the segment. And again, when we grade this, we're going to be looking to see, is there a little arc here showing that you used your compass to measure this thing out. Okay, so let's see. So we showed how to copy the segment. Now let's construct a segment that's twice as long as the given segment. Okay, so let's go back to this thing again. Alright, so if I want to construct a segment that's twice as long, alright, so let's say this is my new segment and I want to construct one that's twice as long. Well, the first thing you do, just like we did before, is you go ahead and draw yourself a segment that's definitely longer than you need. So here's my segment. Alright, I'm going to make sure it's more than twice as long so I have plenty of space. So I'm going to use my compass as a measuring tool. So I'm going to move this over to the end, okay, and I'm going to set the width of my compass. By the way, this compass, you're supposed to be imagining that you're looking straight down over the top of your compass. So this part right here is the part that you twirl with your fingers. And of course this is the drawing part. So I'm making my compass like narrower and wider. Anyway, so I'm going to set this right at the end of this segment. So now I have the length set to be correct. So now if I move this over here, okay, I can draw a mark. Okay, so far this little part is will be congruent in length to my segment. But since I want double length, I will just move my compass over and put another arc. Okay, so the double length segment, of course, is going to be from the beginning to the end here. Alright, and now that's how you construct a segment that's twice as long. And we'll be looking for these arcs as a way of showing your work. Alright, for number 23, let's go ahead and learn how to copy the angle. Alright, let's say this is the angle that I want to copy. The first thing I do is I take my straight edge and I draw a segment. Okay, as long as you want, it doesn't really matter. So if I want to copy an angle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my compass and draw an arc through here. So I'm going to take my compass tool. Alright, this represents the point of your compass. So you're going to put that on the vertex. And you're going to draw an arc. It doesn't matter exactly how big the arc is, as long as it can intersect with both sides of your angle. Okay, so there, I've intersected both sides of my angle. So now what you want to do is, keeping your compass the same size, go ahead and move it over to your new angle and draw that same arc. Now obviously I don't know exactly how high it's going to go, so I'm just going to make sure I make it plenty high. Alright, so keeping that same size, I'm basically recreating the same arc that we had over here. Okay, now what I need now is to know this intersection spot right here. So you see I've got one intersection spot right here. This intersection spot is the same as this intersection spot. Okay, what we need to find now is the other intersection spot, which is going to be like around here somewhere, but we don't know exactly where. So here's how you find it. We are going to use the compass now to measure the distance between the intersection points on the original. Okay, so if I just move it like this, now my compass is measuring the distance from intersection point to intersection point. Now that should be the same if I move it over here. Okay, starting at my the intersection point that I know for sure. It keeps budging a little. Okay. Now this other one, I'm going to have to draw a little arc because I'm not sure. Okay, so I've drawn the little arc now. Let me move that out of the way. So that little arc, the place where it intersects the first arc, shows me where the second intersection point is going to be. So now I can come back with my straight edge, and I'm going to draw the other side of my angle right through there. So it's going to be like this. I meant for that to be red, but I guess it's okay. Okay, so now there it is. I have duplicated this angle. Alright, so this angle right here, that goes from here to here, and then from here to here. So this original angle is now going to be congruent to the new angle. So that is how you copy an angle. Alright, so for number 24, we have to construct an angle that is twice as large as the given angle. Okay, so the way you do that. Alright, let's say this is my original angle, and now I want to construct an angle that is exactly twice as large. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is just draw yourself a segment. Okay, as long as you want. Okay, so next take your compass, put it at the vertex of your original angle, and you're going to draw an arc through this thing. Okay, it doesn't matter exactly how big it is as long as you can draw an arc through both sides. Okay, so I'm going to just draw an arc through like that. Okay, I need to now draw the exact same arc on my new picture over here. So I'm going to move this down. I'm about to draw the same arc again. Now, keeping in mind though that we want this to be double the size of this original, I'm going to make sure when I draw my arc, I'm going to draw it nice and big, so I have plenty of room to be double the original size. Alright, just plenty big. Okay, now we're basically going to start by duplicating the original angle. And we learned that the way we do that is we measure from intersection point to intersection point. So now I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to use it as a way of measuring the distance between the two intersection points. Okay, so there's the distance from intersection point to intersection point. So now I can take my compass and bring it down here. Alright, and I'm going to use it to help me find that first intersection point. Okay, so if I go ahead and draw a little arc right now, alright, if I were to draw an angle now, that would be congruent to the original angle. So in other words, if I were to take my straight edge, and let's see if I can do this. If I were to take my straight edge and to draw an angle now, right through that intersection point, that angle would be congruent, all right, to the original angle. But that's not what I want, so I'm just going to undo that. We want it to be twice as big, so what we do is we just continue and put another mark. Okay, it looks like they reset my compass, so let me just get it back to the size from intersection point to intersection point. So this is what we had used to draw this arc in the first place. So you just move it and you put it at the second intersection point and you draw yourself another arc. Okay, now this second arc is going to be once again the same size as the original, but now that I've done it twice, if I draw it now, it's going to be double the original size. So if I take my straight edge and I draw it through that second intersection point like this, okay, that will now be double the size of the original angle. Okay, I messed that up slightly, but you get the idea. So now this red angle will now be twice the size of the original. And again, when we grade this, we are going to be looking for 3 arcs. Well, 4 if you count this one. So we should see the arc that you measured on the original angle, and we should see that same arc on your new angle. And then we should see 2 smaller arcs showing where you measured the distance from intersection point to intersection point. Alright, if any of those 4 marks are missing, then you did not do the construction properly, and we will grade you accordingly. Alright, that is the end of this lesson. I hope it was helpful for you, and we will see you on the next video.